Hey everybody, we are back. Yay, fall break's over. So back to some more math videos, yay. This is lesson 20 in module 2, and our objective in lesson 20 is to divide 2 and 3 digit dividends by 2-digit divisors with single digit quotients, so they're giving us pretty easy answers. And connect with a written method, and the written method is the standard algorithm plus using a check to just check yourself. That's what it's for. And we're also going to use the check as a strategy to figure out how all these pieces go together: the dividend, the divisor, and the quotient, plus any remainder that is left, how that fits into the whole. So make sure you take the time to get the notes. These are just some sample problems from the teacher's manual that you probably do not have in the book, and you're just going to want to kind of practice. So the whole idea here in lesson 20 is that you're going to take the whole. So if I have 72 divided by 21, what's the whole? Well, the whole is 72. So I'm going to take the 72 and I need to put it into groups of 21. So how many groups of 21 will there be? Well, the first step that we learned in division is to always round the divisor first, so that can help me choose a digit to put into the quotient. So if I round 21 to 20, and then I skip count 20, 40, 60, I would have 3 as my first guess in my quotient in the ones place. So as I proceed and I use the 3 and I do my division, so that's the 3. 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6. Then you do your division family steps, so the divide, multiply, then subtract. Don't forget to compare. This is going to come in really important in a couple minutes. The compare step, your remainder must be less than 21, or whatever your divisor is. Otherwise, you could bump this up by a group. So the remainder is 9. And we're going to move right on to the check, because this is only going to be a single digit quotient like it says in our objective today. And then you check by taking the outside numbers and trying to get the inside. So 21 times 3 plus the remainder. If you end up with 63 and you look at 72, you say, that doesn't match. Don't forget to add the remainder in, okay? And then you add the remainder and you get 72. So huzzah, yay. Now let's do another one. 94 divided by 43, okay. I wish I had, these are all my wishful thinking thought bubbles. 43 was 40, so that it would be easier to count by 40, 40, 80, but don't go past your whole. That would be pointless. You could keep counting by 40 if you wanted to, but why? You would just end up way, way out there, and we don't need that. So 94 divided by 43 would be roughly 2. So let's try that. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. You always want to end up with less than your whole so that you can subtract and figure out what's left. Put it in the remainder. Do your check. 43 times 2, you get 86 plus your remainder, and then you have your 94, and always go back and make sure it matches. Yay! So what happens when we have a problem like 84 divided by 23? So if I have my 84 and I wish I had 20 instead, so sometimes when you're rounding down, you have to use caution, because this actually has more than your rounded amount. So if I was to round down, and I'm trying to get close to this without going past it, 20, 40, 60, 80, that's 4 20s would get me to 80. So I put 4 in my quotient. And what does that get me? Well, I actually had more than 20. I actually had 3 ones 4 more times. 3 times 4 is a total of 12 more. So it's really 80 plus 12, which makes 92. And that is too big. That's why the exclamation mark here. Okay, 92 cannot be taken away from 84 in 5th grade, because we are not working with negative numbers. We can't go below 0. So this can't be done. And what this tells you is that that's a problem. I have a problem here. That is not going to work. So I'm going to take 1 off of this and use the previous one. So I'm going to use 3. When I multiply with 3, I can I can get the 23 3 times, and that only adds on 9 more. So 23 times 3 is 69. Then you find the difference, and you have to make sure that your difference, 15, is less than the divisor. If the difference is less than, then your quotient is good. Okay, so always do this comparison step. Remember the steps of the division family. It's the dad, the mom, the sister, the cousin, and the brother. And this is divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. Okay, so this is the dad, the mom, the sister, cousin, bruh. We'll put bro. Okay, and that's for divide. And then multiply, subtract, compare. Very important today. Bring down. Okay, now if you do this, and you really have to think carefully in today's lesson about, is my remainder bigger than my divisor? If that happens, you have to reduce the size of your quotient by 1 until you can actually multiply and use up most of the set, but not go over. Okay, so those are the notes for today. Oops, you probably couldn't see that. Oh, I hate it when I do that. Such a rookie. Anyway, these are the steps for the multiplication family, and then this is what's happening down here. I'll move this stuff out of the way so you guys can see, and then we'll get into the book. Okay, and remember, if you ever need more time, just pause the video and take the time to copy down what's necessary. All right. Oops, wrong page. Love that. I really am ready for prime time after this fall break. I am so ready. Okay, lesson 20, problem set. So let's get started here. The first one is done for you. We're going to divide, then check with multiplication, because this is a very important step. And again, look, they didn't even put in the brackets. Silly people. When you get this, you want to go back and check and make sure that that matches. That's the whole goal of that check. Did I do it right? So 49 divided by 21, so we're going to be setting these up in our bracket or standard algorithm format. 21 is our divisor. So this is the I wish I had 20, okay, in your head. You don't have to write this. I'm just writing it so that you can see it. I wish I had 20. If I had 20, I would count by 20 until I got to 49. Don't go past it. It's like playing on The Price is Right. As close as you can without going over. Then you're a winner. So 2 20s, or 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. That gives us 42, which is less than 49. Do your subtraction, and we get 7 as our remainder. Take the 21. This is the check step. After a while, I just stop writing check, because guess what? I'm going to check over here. 21 times 2. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. But that's not 49, that's okay. I'm going to add the remainder. And once you add the remainder, then you get 49, do your comparison, hip hip hooray, and move on. Put a little star, make yourself happy, it's fun. 39 on the outside, 78 on the inside. I wish I had 40. If I had 40, I would skip count by 40 and do 40, 80. Ah, that's really close, but do you think we can do it? This is one where you have to consider that if I overestimate, but I really have less, and I have 2 of the 39s, did you know that 2 9s make 18? And then 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So I'm thinking in my head that I can get away with this because I'm only 2 digits under 80. And this is only 1 digit that I'm repeating 2 times. So just putting that math together, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you can just try 1 and then see what happens. But we can actually fit 2 39s in and get 0 remainder. 39 times 2 just so happens that it is exactly 78. So I knew that in my head. That's why I did it this way. Now 32 into 84 is just a little bit different. If I had 30 and I did 30, 60, 90, I would see that that's too much. So I'm going to pull this back to here. And don't forget, this is place value. You have to line it up. It's not the 2 over the 8. It's not the 2 over the 7. It's 2 in the ones place here. 2 in the ones place over the 4. Continue multiplying. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. And when I subtract, I see that I have a pretty large remainder, but my remainder is still less than the divisor. So that's okay. Just take your 32 times your new quotient that you think you have correct. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, but don't forget to add your remainder. And you get 84, and you check it and go, huzzah! You probably are saying, yay, not huzzah, but I say huzzah because 5th grade U.S. history. That's why. 77 divided by 25. Now, if you know quarters, then you know that you can put 3 quarters in a vending machine, and that is 75 cents. So you don't always have to round up to 30 or round down to 20 to be able to use those 25s. So 5 times 3, 15. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And we get a little tiny remainder of 2. And then you can check it. 25 times 3, 15. 6 and 1 is 7. And then add the 2 for 77. Huzzah! And then the last one on this page, 17 into 68. Now, if I had 20, I could count by 20, 20, 40, 60. So I can try this, and I can say, well, if I round it up, okay, I actually have 3 less, and I may have wiggle room. So we could try the 3, and then 3 times 7 is 21, and 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. And we want to make sure that we have a number that is smaller than the divisor. What if we have 17? That means that I can get another full set of 17 in my quotient. So what you do when this happens, notice I wrote it a little bit lighter because I kind of knew that was coming, but it's a great strategy. It means you can get used to trial and error, okay? So with trial and error, you can see that you will be erasing, and it's totally, totally fine. So 4 times 7 is 28, and 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. And there it is. I'm using all 17s 4 times to complete my sets of 20 of 17 and use all of them, and that's a total of 68. Do the check, 17 times 4, and you get 68. Okay, let's turn the page. Now we have some strategy questions. When dividing 82 by 43, Linda estimated the quotient to be 2, just like we estimated on the previous page. We're just estimating in the beginning. Examine Linda's work and explain what she needs to do next. On the right, show how you would solve the problem. So we did one of these before, and we're going to do the same type of thing. If Linda estimates that she's going to be really close, 2 seems reasonable, right? But it's not actually 80, and it's not actually 40. It's 43 and 82. If I have to repeat 3 2 times, I'm going to get 6, which is what I got here. So what's the problem? The problem is that this is too big. And you can't take 86 from 82. So you need to reduce the size of your quotient. Okay? And so if you reduce the size of your quotient by 1, just take it down by 1, which actually leaves us 1 because that's all we have. Then you multiply, and you may end up with a really big number as your remainder, but that's okay. I could have 42 as my remainder here and still be mathematically within reason and have a good answer up here. So do your subtraction just to see what the difference is. I can't take 3 from 2, so you would go over here and borrow and take 1 and give 10. 12 minus 3, 7 minus 4, and I have 39 left over. That's okay. It's big, but so what? This is bigger, and that's what I need. And so if you explain what she needs to do next, you reduce the size of your quotient, and then you would solve the problem this way. And that's really all you need to do. You could write a whole bunch more, but we don't really have to. For number 3, a number divided by 43. So I always say, set this up if you can. Do whatever they tell you. Read, draw, write. A number divided by 43 has a quotient of 3. Remember, the quotient's the answer, with 28 as a remainder. Find the number. This is the mystery number, and show your work. So remember, if you wrote down everything I had in my previous lesson about where the divisor, the dividend, and the quotient go, then you would know how to fill this in. A number divided by 43 has a quotient of 3 with 28 as a remainder. So down here is your 28, which is fine. Find the number. Now the strategy, strategy is do the check. Do the check. If you go through the steps of the check, you've got all the numbers you need. You have the divisor, you have the quotient, and then solve that. 3 times 3, 9, 3 times 4, 12, and you have the remainder, 28. Add that. 9 plus 8 is 17. Carry the 1, 2, 4, 5. And then voila, what do we do here? We go like this, 157. And so 157 is the number that you are finding, and you would just have to trust that you've done all your math right because we don't have anything to compare to. The strategy is to do the check, and you can get back to that number. So the mystery number was 157. Okay, and then there's another page, because it's so much fun, we don't want to be finished yet. There's another page that says write another division problem that has a quotient of 3 and a remainder of 28. And so really the strategy here is you have to think a lot about what is important information. Okay, now the important information in this is not only that I have a quotient of 3 and a remainder of 28, but if I have a remainder of 28, that has to give me a clue about what this number is. Because remember, if you have 28, I know that this number has to be at least what? It has to be anything over 28, because I could not have this here and have the divisor be 16. Okay, that would not be good. Then that would not be the answer here. So you have to take this 28 and think reasonably about what does this mean when I have a remainder. It means that the quotient, I'm sorry, not the quotient. See, big words. The divisor must be over or greater than 28. Okay, so it must be 29 or higher. Now, once you figure this out, so the key here is look at the size of the remainder. Once you figure out this important fact, then you can just choose any number you want, choose any number over 28, and multiply by 3, because that's your given quotient. And once you do that, you're going to add a 28. Okay, so let's choose any number over 28. So let's just say 35. Okay, So if I come up with 35, I'm choosing that, and I'm going to multiply by 3. 35 times 3. 5 times 3, 15. 3 times 3, 9 plus 1 is 10. But then we're going to add the remainder. And then I end up with 133 for my, we're trying to write another division problem. So then I would just say, what's 133 divided by 35? And that would be my problem. Okay. And then let's go on. And so hopefully that is pretty clear, but the strategy is choose a number over that is at least one larger than the remainder. Okay, Mrs. Silverstein. There you go. Is that blurry again? Okay. Mrs. Silverstein sold, I'm sure it will focus shortly. There it is. Mrs. Silverstein sold 91 cupcakes at a food fair. The cupcakes were sold in boxes of a baker's dozen. Oh, how convenient, which is 13, not 12. She sold all the cupcakes at $15 per box. How much money did she receive? So we're going to take our total of 91 cupcakes, okay, and we're going to put them in these boxes of 13. So it's 91, excuse me, divided by 13, and we're going to set it up with our actual bracket division, so we're not rounding, but you can still think about approximately how many would I use, what can I skip count by. If I had 10, how many times would I skip count? But I don't have 10, I have 13, so I have to kind of bump that down a little bit. So if I had 10 and I guessed 9, remember you're going to be way over. So pull it back a little bit. You could guess 8, but again, that might be really high. 8 times 3 is 24, and that makes 8 times 1 plus 2 more than 9. So do the light division while you're still calculating those things in your head before you write it down all the way. 8 was too big. Let's pull it back to 7. 7 times 3 is 21, and then 7 times 1 is 7 plus 2 is 9. So we have all the cupcakes being used in 7 boxes. Okay, so it's 91 cupcakes and 7 boxes. So how much money did she receive is the question. You have to go back to she sold all the cupcakes at $15 per box. So there's another step here. Now that we know how many boxes, we have to take the 15 and multiply by 7. 7 times 5 is 35. 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is a money question. How much money did she receive? She received, or earned, I would say, really, $105. Okay, so that is it for lesson 20. That was kind of a long one, but very important lesson. Your teachers also, sometimes what I do is I combine 20, 21, and maybe even 22. It's all the same. It's divide and check. So use that strategy to help yourselves get ahead, and good luck with those. And if this is helpful, click subscribe, and I really hope it's helping you. And I thank you for all the nice comments that it is helping. Have a great day.